Hello friends, Tanya here with another video with the Spellbinders 2024 Crafty Advent Calendar. Let's open door number 9 and we have some gorgeous lemony yellow iridescent sequins. These are no hole, flat back sequins and they come in 2 different sizes. I just love this color. Let's see what we can come up with. Let's start out by doing some ink blending. I've got squeezed lemonade and wild honey here. And I'm going to start with the lighter yellow. This is the squeezed lemonade. These are distress oxides, so they blend very nicely. I'm covering a half sheet of cardstock here that measures 8.5 by 5.5 inches. We all know that I love my 5x7 cards, and we're doing another one. I'm going to go back over the squeezed lemonade with some wild honey in kind of a loose circular smudging inking here. I want there to be a lot of irregularity in the color, kind of a marbled, well, not marbled, just a subtle difference in the color throughout the whole thing. We're also going to use the Distress Spritz in squeezed lemonade. I did contemplate using the fossilized amber because it is such a nice gold tone. Next, we're going to pull out my favorite 5x7 Matting Basics Set B, and we'll take the largest die from that. And then we're going to pull out the Hero Arts Infinity dies in the hexagons. These are gorgeous. And now that Spellbinders and Hero Arts are under the same umbrella, I'm excited to be able to use some of the Hero Arts products, big words, together with the Spellbinder stuff because there are so many times when I'd love to pull in the theme from another line. Here we're also going to use the Because 3D embossing folder. This came out, I believe, with one of the Susan Tierney-Cockburn collections, and it is stunning. It's got this lovely honeycomb and small bee effect. Has a beautiful deep etching. We're going to take some solar paste, lunar paste, solar paste, in slippery when wet, and I'm just going to use my finger to lightly rub this over the raised portions of the 3D embossing. I just wanted to bring that extra little bit of shine and really help that honeycomb and those bees stand out from that ink blended background. I didn't want them to be in your face, but I think that soft gilding really adds to the feel of this card. And let's be honest, I like bringing out my inner child and playing with the adult version of finger paints. These solar pastes and lunar pastes are so fun to use on your projects, and I like to get my hands a little dirty. Surprisingly, they aren't all that dirty. This solar paste is really easy to get off of your finger when you're done with your application. I generally just spray some soapy water onto my surface that I'm going to clean up the lunar paste, and then rub my finger in that puddle, and it generally gets rid of it. And now we're going to take our 2 panels that I cut with the hexagon, and we're going to back the yellow one with the black one. The yellow has the slightly smaller hexagon cut out of it so that we have this nice framing effect with the black, which is some brushed black cardstock. I love how that really highlights this opening. You may have guessed that I was going to make another shaker card. Who could resist with those gorgeous sequins? I have a piece of acetate from packaging here cut to fit behind this panel, and I'm using some double-sided tape here to get that adhered. I'll just peel the backer off, and I find using the tip of my pokey tool is the easiest way for me to get the backer off of the the glue. That strip let loose because the brushed white cardstock has a coating on it, and I hadn't pushed on it really hard to get that sealed in. Now that we have the acetate on there. We're going to use some thin strips of foam tape to go all the way around the hexagon to create hexagon. Boy, I speak very well, don't I? Um, I am adding this pocket for all of the sequins to go in. And to maintain the same height all the way around, I am going to use the same thin strips all the way around the perimeter of the card. I don't go overboard. Well, I don't do a lot of extra in between. I'm just risking it. I don't want my cards to get squished in the mail, but I don't know that this is actually going to get mailed. I'm holding the card in my hand, shaking the sequins because a shaker card is just so fun. Who can resist shaking it to see all the sequins bob around? Now that I have the perimeter sealed up, just going to fill in some of the larger gaps with just a couple strips of the thin foam strips. Now it's time to create our shaker mix. We've got those gorgeous yellow ones, and then I have some Trinity stamps in sequins. This is called the Nebula mix. It's an iridescent black. If you dig through your stash, I bet you have some kind of black sequin or even gems that you could put in there. That would look fantastic. Just going to tip those into our container. And after my 10 card video, when I had mixed way too many sequins together, I was a little more conservative. I'm taking that Distress Spritz in Squeezed Lemonade and spritzing the cardstock that I'm going to back our sequin pocket with. I just wanted a little extra interest behind our sequin mix here in the shaker pocket. Now we'll add some glue directly to the back of these thin foam strips. If you have adhesive on both sides, you don't need to do this. It does give you a little extra wiggle time to get it placed exactly the way you want it. But my strips don't have adhesive on the back. They were a defective batch, and they're still usable. I just have to put some adhesive on the back. Once I have glue all the way around on all of the spots, I'm going to carefully line up this piece of white cardstock that is slightly smaller than the card front panel. Now we're going to use some stamps from the January 2024 kit, the clear stamp of the month. This is called Just Because. And I'm going to emboss this on some black cardstock. I've used my anti-static powder bag to get rid of the extra static. And we're going to use the unicorn white pigment ink from Hero Arts. I just have this in a small cube. And you can use whatever white pigment ink that you have. I am going to stamp this 3 times on the cardstock to make sure I have really good coverage. That is time number 2. And we'll do it one more time. And you can see that this is a really nice bright white pigment ink. By using white pigment ink behind the white embossing, if it doesn't emboss as solid as you would have liked, it can fill in the gaps so it's not as obvious. We're going to use my favorite white embossing powder. This is the Alabaster embossing powder from Brutus Monroe, and it's a fine detail white embossing powder. And it creates a very even, raised, shiny impression and keeps the details in your stamping. That looks lovely. Now we're going to clean off that extra powder just using a dry microfiber cloth, giving that a good rub, and then we'll use the coordinating dies in the clear die of the month component. This is still available. Those stamps and those dies are still available. Those came out from January's kit of 2024, and I think all of the components of those club kits are still available. Next, we're going to use another of the hexagon dies and take that fallout black piece and cut out the center. We're creating another nice little frame, and we're going to apply that to the yellow fallout from the front. Just going to use my Barely Art glue to add a nice little line of glue around this frame. A good fine tip glue is going to be your friend when you're working with delicate pieces like this, and it has been a game changer for me to have a really good glue that is thin enough to go through the fine tip uh, bottle here. And this is the Spellbinders fine tip bottle. I use it all the time. Now it's time to start assembling our pieces here. I'm going to add some glue to the back of this panel, and we'll put that on our white 5x7 card base. Just going to try to center this as well as we can. And this is just a smidge between, it's between 4.5 and 4 3/4 by 6.5 and 6 3/4. It's just, I think, 1/8 inch difference. We're going to, no, 1/16 inch. There we go. I'm going to adhere 3 layers of cardstock together to create the happy birthday. And we're going to use the bee from one of the, I think this is from day 6. I still had another bee in the baggie that I'd already created, and we may as well use it. It fits so beautifully on this background. So I've adhered our cute little bee and the sentiment, and between the shaker window and those two elements, we do have a nice visual triangle. Inside, I'm going to take that same squeezed lemonade distress spritz, and I'm going to take the nozzle out and just spatter it with the spritz. I didn't want to spray. I wanted a little more control, and I wanted bigger blobs. We adhered the sentiment to the center of that hexagon, and then there was also a die with the bee that creates these little hexagon frames and the center fallout piece. I had die cut them with yellow and black, and I am just going to place the black center in the yellow frame and the yellow center in the black frame. Just going to tack those down. Again, the precision tip makes this so easy to do. And lastly, we're going to add a few of these yellow sequins to the inside of the card. Just going to add little dots of glue and add our sequins using one of each size on each area that we're creating. And that completes our card for day 9 of the Crafty Advent Calendar. Used lots of fun products from other releases, and I hope you enjoyed this as much as I enjoyed putting it together. Leave a comment, let me know what you're enjoying the most about this series or about this card. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't done that, and check that description box below for all of the products that I used today. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for the next day, and here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Bye-bye.